Hey friends, it's Miss Cat, and I have a book for you. If you can recall, we're studying all about clothing. So today, because it's winter and we're learning about clothing, we've got the mitten. I hope some of you tuned in to Miss Norma's reading of the mitten in Spanish that I put up yesterday. If you haven't seen that yet, get on it today. But listen up, I'm going to read this one in English, okay? So we're looking at the cover. I want you to check out what kind of animals you're seeing there and what are they all looking at? What are they all looking at? All right, maybe you could count up how many animals there are. Do you see 8 animals? I do. Some of them are really little. All right, guys, we're going to read this story that has been adapted, which is rewritten and illustrated by Jan Brett. So Jan Brett, she did the words and drew the pictures. All right, let's open up the cover to our first page. Once there was a boy named Nicky who wanted new mittens made from wool white as snow. All right, there's Nicky. And looks like he's having lots of fun out in the snow, but I do see he has bare hands, nothing on his hands. What happens to your hands when you play outside with no mittens in the cold, cold snow? After she finished, oh, I skipped a page, whoops. At first, his grandmother, Baba, did not want to knit white mittens. If you drop one in the snow, she warned, you'll never find it. But Nicky wanted snow white mittens, and finally, Baba made them. All right. So as you might know, there are lots of different ways to say grandmother. In different cultures, we say different things. So at my house, we call one grandma Nana, and on the other side, we call her Busha. All right, and in this story, he calls his grandmother Baba. I wonder, do you have different words for grandmother in your home? All right, well, there she is, knitting Nicky's white mittens for him. After she finished, she said, when you come home, first I will look to see if you're safe and sound, but then I will look to see if you have your snow white mittens. So off Nicky went, and it wasn't long until one of his new mittens dropped into the snow and was left behind. All right, just as she warned, there's Nicky. He's climbing a tree. And what do we see in the snow below the tree? Uh-oh. And it does blend. It blends right in with the snow, doesn't it? A mole, tired from tunneling along, discovered the mitten and burrowed inside. It was cozy and warm and just the right size, so he decided to stay. All right, let's take a look here. Get really close there. Can you check out that mole? He's about to make a home inside of Nicky's mitten. A snowshoe rabbit came hopping by. He stopped for a moment to admire his winter coat. It was then that he saw the mitten, and he wiggled in, feet first. The mole didn't think there was room for both of them, but when he saw the rabbit's big kickers, he moved over. All right, and now how many animals are in that mitten? How many animals? Let's take a look. I see a mole and I see a rabbit. So there's 2 animals in there. Next, a hedgehog came snuffling along. Having spent the day looking under wet leaves for things to eat, he decided to move into the mitten and warm himself. The mole and the rabbit were bumped and jostled, but not being ones to argue with someone covered with prickles, they made room. All right, here comes the hedgehog. So now we have a mole, a rabbit, and a hedgehog in there. How many is that? How many animals are in that mitten now? As soon as the hedgehog disappeared into the mitten, a big owl, attracted by the commotion, swooped down. When he decided to move in also, the mole, the rabbit, and the hedgehog grumbled. But when they saw the owl's glinty talons, they quickly let him in. What do you suppose are talons? What would these other animals, what does the owl have that these other animals would be frightened of? See, let's take a look at those sharp claws. Oh boy. Those sharp toenails on the owl, those are called talons. And that's what it uses to pick up mice and other prey that it will eat. So these guys are pretty scared of those big talons. Up through the snow appeared a badger. He eyed the mitten and began to climb in. The mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, and the owl were not pleased. There was no room left, but when they saw his diggers, they gave him the thumb. All right, so how many animals are going to be in there now? Okay, we've got a mole, we've got a rabbit, we've got a hedgehog, we've got an owl, and now one more is going to join. So that will make 5. It started snowing, but the animals were snug in the mitten. A waft of warm steam rose into the air, and a fox trotting by stopped to investigate. Just the sight of the cozy mitten made him feel drowsy. There's that word again. Drowsy means sleepy, right? The fox poked his muzzle in, and when the mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, the owl, and the badger saw his shiny teeth, he gave the fox lots of room. All right, how many animals are in there now? Oh my goodness, look at that mitten. It's getting really stretched out. Baba knitted a very fine mitten, didn't she? Because there are now 6 animals in there. Now, a great big bear lumbered by. He spied the mitten all plumped up. Not being one to be left out in the cold, he began to nose his way in. The animals were packed in as tightly as could be, but what animal would argue with a bear? The mitten swelled and stretched. It was pulled and bulged too many times its size. But Baba's good knitting held fast. Oh my goodness, look at that. How is that bear gonna fit in there when there's already 6 animals in there? We have a fox and a badger, and we have a mole and a rabbit, and we have a hedgehog and an owl in there. Now a bear? So, along came a meadow mouse, no bigger than an acorn. She wriggled into the one space left and made herself comfortable on top of the bear's nose. Oh, well, that was a cozy spot. Check that out. That is a brave mouse, though, don't you think? Sitting right by the fox on top of the bear's nose. Oh my goodness. But they sure do look cozy in there. The bear, tickled by the mouse's whiskers, gave an enormous sneeze. Ah, 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 choo! The force of the sneeze shot the mitten up into the sky and scattered the animals in all directions. Oh my goodness, look at that bear's big sneeze. Everybody went flying. Mitten went flying in the air, animals every direction. Holy cow. On his way home, Nicky saw a white shape in the distance. It was the lost mitten silhouetted against the sky. So look at the timing was perfect because right after that bear sneezed and that mitten went flying, Nicky just happened to be walking through at that moment and saw his other mitten. Perfect timing. As he ran to catch his snow white mitten, he saw Baba's face in the window. First, she looked to see if he was safe and sound. And then she saw that he still had his new mittens. All right, Nicky. I don't know. Did you see Baba in the window? Look really closely. She's watching. She's watching, Nicky. And look at this. She looks pretty perplexed because one mitten is way bigger than the other one, isn't it? That mitten got very stretched out by having so many animals packed inside. I wonder if you can recall how many animals and what kind of animals were inside that mitten. Maybe we'll play a little game later, or you could do the coloring sheets Miss Cat sent home to you and play along and retell the story to either an adult at home or maybe a sibling. All right, I hope you have a good day. Bye.